So glad to have the group gathered here. We're pleased to really have a great group of UK alumni and one of our current students that work for Accenture. And so we're going to kick things off. My name is Clere. I oversee the University Stuckert Career Center, joined by my colleague Meghan Pippenger and our employer relations team. And I'm going to introduce Valerie Koach here today from Accenture. She's a 2021 UK alumna, and she was information communication technology major during her time at UK. And she's now with the Chicago office of Accenture, and she's got a group of her colleagues who are also UK alumni or students that are joining her. So Valerie, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Ray. Hi, everyone. We are very excited to be here. As Ray said, we are from Accenture and also from UK. So we're excited to be giving back to the students and hoping that we can, provide you some interest into what we do post-graduation or during your time at UK. So we have some great content lined up, great speakers, and, we're looking for people to get interested in our Summer Analyst program. So we're hoping that this provides you some insight into that, insight into Accenture in general. So with that being said, we will go ahead and get started. We also leave some time at the end for the Q&A, but feel free to drop anything in the chat along the way. But thank you all for being here. So to get us started, get going. So our agenda here today, we'll talk about, who is Accenture, who are we, what do we do, what is our culture, how you all can start your journey, and then some next steps. We have some relevant links to our Accenture portal that will all be made available to you after this presentation as well. So here are today's speakers. So you have myself on the left, and then we have Mac, Lauren, and Emmanuel. So myself, Mac, and Lauren are current full-time Accenture resources, and Emmanuel was a summer intern with us over this past summer, who is now finishing up his senior year at UK. So each one of us will be able to speak more, and I'll let them kind of give more of a brief introduction as the presentation goes along. So I will pass it now to Lauren.
Thanks, Valerie. Hi, everyone. My name is Lauren Howard. I am a consultant in the tech space out of the Chicago office. Right now, I'm actually at my client site in Lexington, and that was just a coincidence. I actually did not go out of my way to find a client back in Lexington, but I'm happy to be here. I started with Accenture in January of 2021. I graduated from UK in May of 2020, so all during the wonderful pandemic, which made graduation interesting. But so yeah, I started about 6 months later and have been here ever since. Made my way through our technology development program as an analyst and have now moved into more client-facing work. And you'll hear more about our analyst programs as we talk about everything today. But now I just wanted to tell you guys kind of about Accenture as a whole, our culture, anything that you would need to know. So this is just our overall purpose to deliver on the promise of technology and human ingenuity. And I think that one thing that I really want to stress on is that Accenture, we're all about people. Like, people are what makes the company great. It also is what we're selling. We're selling ourselves, which sounds weird, but like we're not selling anything physical. Like, we're not selling manufacturers, like that kind of stuff. So I think that a really big point is that our people are the best part of the company, and it's important to work with all of these great people. So if Valerie, you go to the next slide. These are just kind of some overall stats about Accenture. We're a global professional services company, and we help our clients become the next and best version of ourselves. As you can see, there's some big numbers on the right. So 89 of the Fortune Global 100 are Accenture clients, which I think is just crazy. And it's awesome. We also have 200 cities with Accenture locations and operations across the globe. So we're not just based in the US, we are a global company. We have 350 plus partners and suppliers in our ecosystem, 8,200 patents and patents pending worldwide, which anytime I hear about a new patent and patent pending, I always think of Shark Tank. But I think that you see those people that go on Shark Tank and they have like 1 or 2 patents. We have 8,200, which is astronomical. We have just over 730,000 employees worldwide and 9,000 clients that we serve throughout. And then overall, 75% of the Fortune Global 500 companies are also Accenture clients. So we have a big group there. And then 98 of our top 100 clients have been with us for at least 10 years. So I'm at Valvoline, and we have had them as a client for at least over 8 years. I think it might pass up to 15 or 16. But I know that my manager here, she's been on this client for 8 years. So we do tend to build very strong relationships with the people that we work with, not only our own Accenture employees, but also our clients. And I think that this is something that's super important to note is where are we located? We have offices that we'll show later throughout the North America and the US. We're also in Canada as well. So it's not just US, but North America as well. And across North America, we have almost 70,000 employees within 45 different cities. And within those offices across the country, we do break it down by market unit. So we have the Northeast, South, Midwest, West, and Canada. And depending on what office you're in and where you fall within the different market units and regions is where you'll see a lot of your clients be based out of. So since I'm in Chicago, somehow Kentucky is in the Midwest. I would have thought it would have fallen in the South. But so, Kentucky, Wisconsin, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, those are all Midwest, all considered Midwest offices, and we can have clients throughout there. So even though I'm from the Chicago office, doesn't mean that my clients are only going to be within Chicago. And there are some people too who they go from one market unit to the other with projects, but I would say that is a little more rare. So you tend to stay within your market units and the cities around there. And then also wanted to note that we have 11 innovation hubs. These are, the newest tech offices. A lot of designers and developers work together. And we have some really cool things that we can do in our innovation hub in Chicago. I've been in there a couple times. There's a make shop where you can see all of these cool things come to life. A lot of AI and things like that going on in there. So highly recommend the Chicago office. We have a little bit of everything, but I might be biased too. And so then across the globe, across the country, we break down into different services. So we have 5 services that you can be a part of and that you can strengthen your relationship and your skills there. We have strategy and consulting, which I would say is the most widely known. If you're hearing about consulting, that's what you would think of. That's the strategy and consulting area. Then we have song, and song is more not tech based, but imaginatory how do you bring this stuff to life through like the computer, through the TV, that type of stuff. Tech is also what you would think of working with different technologies, SAP, Oracle, implementations with that type of stuff. And that's where I align. Then we have operations. So how are we delivering? How are we getting it from point A to point B? And then we have Industry X, which is really digital heavy engineering and manufacturing. And I would say that Industry X is super hot right now. That's where a lot of people want to be. But these are different services, and we're broken down. Each individual person is aligned to different services, and then within those services, different areas. So that's definitely something to try and point your interest towards, whether you think that you'd be more interested in consulting, song, technology, operations, or Industry X. And so then here at Accenture, you have the opportunity to follow your purpose and make real, lasting, impactful change. And I've only been here for 3 years, but I've definitely been able to see, like, with my work, how you can really help your clients, whether it's on a personal level or within the company. And when you're growing and making an impact, and then you see it come to life after the project goes live, it really is cool. And I think that sometimes it's hard to see in different professions, but here I know that you can really see those changes that happen. So that's just a little overall Accenture about us. But I'm going to hand it off to Mac to talk more about our culture.
Thank you, Lauren. Hello, everyone. My name is Mac. To give a little background on me, I was a computer science major at the University of Kentucky. I received my bachelor's in 2021, and I also went back to UK for 2 years to receive my master's in computer science. And I just recently got that in 2023, this past May. I've been so I first interned with Accenture back in the summer of 21. I was with the CDP. I ended up getting a return offer for the next summer, where I moved to the TDP department. And now, since graduating, I have joined full-time with TDP, and I've been here since July. And I am currently at the Pittsburgh office. I got to say, after living in Lexington for 6 years, I do miss UK a lot, but, Pittsburgh's not half bad. And I'm really glad I get to talk to you guys about our culture, because if Val, if you could move on to the next slide. I'm really happy I get to talk about, because this was what really struck me when I first joined Accenture, when I first interned, is how diverse they were and how inclusive it was. They made it very clear from the beginning that they were accepting of everybody. They were very inclusive. You can even see on the right there, they are ranked #1 on the Refinitiv Diversity and Inclusion Index, which is extremely impressive. And, I just felt at home. I just felt like I belonged here the instant I, joined. Even like with everyone so far apart, I just felt like I was at home here. And so one of the ways, they always push these through the trainings we're required to take, on unconscious bias and harassment and what to do. But the main way they push this diversity is through our employee resource groups, or our ERGs, which help celebrate celebrate our people and what makes them unique. So, sorry, I'm just reading off my notes here. So basically, these ERGs can help provide you with network, volunteering, and learning opportunities. You can help build your skills, talk to other people who may have had similar experiences with you. You can discuss role opportunities and increase your cultural awareness. And you can go ahead and read through. These are some of our goals and some of the things that we do for each of these sectors or each of these areas. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about the different ERGs that we have here. So we have a women's ERG. There's also a men's ERG. So for race and ethnicity, I'm going to kind of go through some of my experiences as well. I'm a part of the African American ERG, but they have ones for African Americans Hispanic Americans and Native Americans and just different races there. since I've been here since July, they have weekly staffing calls. So with Accenture, you want to be staffed on projects, and so they'll have calls each week to kind of help you and give you advice on what you can do. I also joined to talk about neurodiversity within the Black community, and I also know there's also a yearly summit that they have. I unfortunately just missed it when I joined. I think it was like a week before I joined, so I wasn't able to attend it. But it sounds like a really great opportunity. And like I said, and you'll see all kinds of these events throughout each ERG. So we have an LGBTQ plus ERG. They have a lot of events going on, a lot of fun of events happening. There's a disability inclusion ERG. I'll be honest, I don't really know much about that. But again, if you fall into one of these sectors and once you join, you can, there's a dashboard you can go into, you can look into them, or you can reach out to somebody, you can get involved very easily. The faith ERG, there's different faiths. So when this says 13, I believe they're all kind of split off. So there is one interfaith ERG, but it's split off into different religions. So I'm a part of the Christian one. There's Jewish one, Buddhist one. There's also even atheists. So wherever you belong, again, Accenture always has a place for you. And so, there's been, Bible studies, there's been prayer groups, there's been all kinds of things with that. And like I said, Accenture puts their employees as the top priority. So they want to make sure you're okay above anything else. So there's even a mental health and wellness ERG. And one that I thought was interesting was, the military ERG. So basically it's like, there will be a place for you at Accenture, no matter how you identify or who you are. So if we could go on to the next slide. Now, this is also what drew me to Accenture is we not only work hard, but we play hard. We are one big happy family. There is always something for you to do around here. We always have events going on, a lot of fun of events planned by different people. There's a lot of groups. There are some technically ERGs that, I'll be honest, I'm not exactly sure the criteria, but some of them aren't like they're more like groups. They're not really, I don't know, I'm sorry. But one's like the Live Well ERG. So they plan like physical fitness type of activities, like yoga is a big one. Hiking's another one. So if I go kind of down this list here, and the list that I have, so there's always happy hours after work. One of the things that I like to do a couple weeks ago was we had an analyst meeting, but the meeting was basically we went to this pottery place and we painted ceramics. I did a little Christmas tree, and hopefully I can get that very soon. There's game nights. We play some Mario Kart. In fact, there's actually a tournament this Friday. Not to brag, but I am representing Pittsburgh in that. So let's hope I can do well. My office specifically, I'm not sure how every office does it, but I'm sure they have their own version. We have these things called Connect Days, where basically it's really to draw everyone. And since COVID's kind of, everyone stayed at home, they really want to try and bring everyone back into the office. So they have these Connect Days about every month where they have different events going on. Yoga is one. There's ice cream socials. They have leader office hours, so you can set up some time to go and talk to a leader or talk to like one of the leaders within your office for a couple minutes, and kind of that helps you build up your network, and you connect to somebody who's higher up in the company. Sorry, I had a thought I was going to say, but I think I forgot it. So with the so there's also some volunteering activities. So what I've gotten to do is I've gotten to help out at a trunk or treat for single mothers. And I dressed up as Luigi. That was pretty fun. And also another big highlight that I just did recently was there was this opportunity to help plant trees in Pittsburgh. There's this company around here that is really big on, just planting trees around the community. And we went to this one playground that's kind of being built up, and we planted about 8 trees that day. And it was really a nice thing. And same goes with our, like I said, with these ERGs, there's also a ton of events going on there as well. I mentioned there's been some like coffee hours, like virtual coffee hours, summits. There's just a bunch of different things that you can do. And not only can you do that in real life, but you can also do it virtually through the metaverse, through virtual reality. And I believe that's all I have on this slide. And next we have a little video that Val will play for you guys to kind of give more insight.
Yeah, just let me know if you guys can't hear it. It should start playing automatically, but let me know.
Okay.
Can you guys hear it?
I don't think we're getting
No.
audio on that.
No.
Let's see if we can get that working. It's all right if we can't get it set up. I'm trying to see if I can get my computer audio to play through the meeting.
Val, while you're trying to figure that out, talk to something else. So
Sure.
going back to all of the, what Max said, work hard, play hard. Each office, they have different events throughout the month. And a lot of these are reoccurring events. And I think that, like, in Chicago, we have third Thursday. So every third Thursday of the month, everybody comes into the office and until like 4 p.m. heads down working hard. And then for 2 hours after that, we have fun things, usually speakers. We get to talk with leaders like Max said. And then there's virtual happy hours. I think another thing to mention is that everybody at Accenture, no matter your level, like you could be an analyst talking to one of our senior managers and they'll make time for you. They'll talk with you. You can ask them questions, which I think is awesome. I feel like you don't get that very many places where you have your higher ups engaged with you and they care about you and they want to see you succeed. Since being here, I found that, if you're not doing great in a role and you're struggling and you ask for help, those are people around you are going to lift you up and put you in a place that you're able to succeed. Which, I mean, I don't know how many other places that you can get that at a constant level and make you successful. And I feel like I'm super supportive. I know that other people around me would say the same thing. So I think that was something important to mention. Val, I don't know if the video's working yet.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren. Unfortunately, my computer audio will not connect to the meeting, but I can give a little synopsis of the video. It's just a short 2-minute video, just kind of looking at some of our current employees and how their time at Accenture has been impactful for them. A little bit of a day in the life of, what does it typically look like when you go into the office? Which I guess I can just explain that. I'm in the office currently in Chicago. My day started around, 8:30 this morning. I have a daily stand-up call with my internal Accenture team before joining an all client team meeting. So we get feedback there. We get some action items out of there. We share our current status weekly in that call. And then after that, we have a couple more meetings with some of our external partners that we're working with that are supporting our work. And then in between meetings, I just have some heads down work to get done. I took a lunch this afternoon with my senior manager on our project and another analyst on our team. So we did some catching up since we were in the office last Thursday, but did some catching up between now and then and got to actually sit down and have a quick little lunch together. So that was nice. And then rounded it off with a couple of afternoon meetings, connecting with the coworkers in the office. And then after this, we have a few more people from our client team in Chicago this week. So we've planned a happy hour. There's actually a bar on the 3rd floor of the office here that's accessible to employees that work in this building. So at 5 o'clock, we will all be meeting up together as we don't get to see each other in person too often for some of the people that are out of town. So that's my day in the life. And then I'll be back in tomorrow for what Lauren was referring to with the third Thursdays. So we have a lot of fun. So it's definitely fun coming into the office. But also with the video, it still talks about, why people chose Accenture, which I know we've touched on, which is a lot of the people and the culture. So being able to have a space to come in and network with people in person, and really meet your client. You can travel to the client site like Lauren's doing currently. But there's also that opportunity for remote work in different settings as well. So it just touches on kind of the different aspects of Accenture. And we will be providing this content after the call. So you can feel free to watch the video on your own time, and hopefully your own computer speakers will work out for you. But we will keep it moving. And we'll pass it to Emmanuel.
Yeah, so hi guys, my name is Emmanuel. I am a current UK student. I study political science, so not like business or engineering of the sort, which I think is a good testament to show that anybody can do this. Like Max said, one thing I really enjoy about Accenture is that they're very open to having people from different backgrounds with different thinking styles come and being a part of the team. So for me, I was a summer analyst this past summer. I worked primarily in Cincinnati, but I did get to spend some time in Chicago as well. The Chicago office is fantastic, love it. And I'll just take you through a little day in my life of what I did, and then talk through some other things as we go on. So in the morning, similar to, can y'all hear me? Okay. So in the morning, similar to Val, we'll do a internal team meeting, and you get on, you hear feedback, you do the things, go through different projects or things you have to do for the day. And then I would proceed on to a client meeting where I would talk with the client, receive feedback from them, and then really a lot of meetings. Truth be told, a lot of this job is meetings. In my role specifically, I was a project manager, and my direct boss was a manager, and she was also a project manager. So that was very helpful because she could show me the ropes in some things, but she also gave me a lot of stretch, a lot of reach projects, and allowed me to really take a good grasp and control of our sector during the time that I was there over the summer. So that was really, really helpful. Then on days we would have lunch if I'm going to the office. The good thing about the office, there's usually always food there. So they're either always catering some sort of food, or there's some sort of event where there's food. So that's always fun. The days that I went, it was usually like tacos or burgers or sandwiches or something super, super nice. Then you would go back, have more client meetings, gather more feedback, and then implement that feedback through to the rest of your team. And then in the evening, you get to spend your time, you can go home, relax. But I would usually try to go to the different social outings. So one thing I really enjoyed was, as an analyst, and then specifically as a summer analyst, there's a lot of things going on. So we got to go to like a Reds baseball game. We went and did volunteering. We went to so many different restaurants over my time. Over the summer, I think I went to like 4 or 5 different restaurants with the team. You get to play different games and really get to interact and do different things. We played a lot of pickleball as well. That's like low-key big here in the Cincinnati area. So it was usually a Tuesday or a Thursday. There's always be like pickleball with the analyst or the senior analyst. So that's always super, super, super fun. But you can continue to the next slide. And then I'll tell you about the process, because something I think is always really important for people to know, especially trying to come into Accenture, is how the process flows. So, first you start your interviews and your preparations. At least for me, when I did it last year, it was 2 rounds of interviews and 1 presentation. So your 2 rounds was your phone interview, and then you would do another interview that included your presentation. You'd have one behavioral interview and 1 presentation, and they would both be an hour, but they would be the same day. with like a 15-minute intermediary between them. So you'd have an hour, you do your behavioral interview, then you'll do 15-minute break, another hour you would do your presentation. And it would be based off a prompt. It's usually, at least when I didn't think it was very hard, but it is something you have to think about, right? And put your best foot forward in. And something to remember, it's not necessarily so much about how great of a project or presentation you make, but how you think through that presentation, how you explain and justify why you would have made certain choices or why you thought a particular technology was good to solve a particular issue. So that's definitely something to consider. Then, barring everything goes well, you receive your offer, and then your first week as an intern is called launch week. Launch week is where you get to meet all the other interns in your office. You get to meet interns in your market group. So I got to meet interns in Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, Chicago, Minneapolis, DC, a whole bunch of places. And you get to meet those people over, usually it's like different types of video calls, but you get to meet with those people and engage with them. You all do different team building activities. You get to listen from different speakers. And you just really get to become immersed into the culture and the atmosphere of Accenture. Within launch week, you also do what I like to call like consulting 101. So they do like a big crash course on like what is consulting and how to do it well. Now, remember, you probably won't be the best at it, but they brought you there for a reason. They feel that you can do this and you can do it well. So don't worry too much about it. Just, do your best and continue to move on. There'll always be plenty of people to help you out. And then you'll also receive your project assignment, which is probably like the most exciting part of launch week, because you get to fill out a survey, you get to pick like what type of project you want to do, what kind of role you want to do. And it's super, super fun. For myself, I wanted to do something in the finance space. So I got to work with this large financial compliance company that's actually based in Chicago, and it was super fun. Really got to help them, and that was just fantastic. After your launch week, then you get into the weeds of things and you go into your first project. And that's where you meet your project team, you meet your managers, you meet people from other teams, you go up and meet your senior managers, your MDs, your associate MDs, and you just really get immersed into the project and you learn about the different technologies and the processes, and you really get to hit the ground running with the project. And now you're really doing the thing that we all imagine consulting. You're finally doing it. And then last, and I think definitely the most important, is networking. You get to network with so many people. As Max said, there's over 700,000 employees at Accenture. So if you need to know something, someone somewhere knows it. Like Val also said, that you get to spend time with your senior managers and your MDs and all these people, so you can do coffee chats, you can do 10-minute one-on-ones, and there's so many activities where you get to see them out. I know, like for myself, over the summer, our MD actually sponsored us to go see a Cincinnati's Red game. And other than that, it might have been a little hard to have that personal, more fun, relaxed, laid back time with him. And it's just great because most of the time they pay for all your stuff while you're there too. So like they'll pay for your food and all that stuff. And it's just really fun because you get to spend time and see your MDs out of their regular day-to-day work. This idea that like, oh, the MD is like way up there and I'm all the way down here. You get to see them as people. So all that stuff is really, really great. And yeah, that's it.
Hey guys, it's me again. I just wanted to touch base on our analyst development programs. So these really help you kickstart your career here at Accenture. They were especially prominent for me when I was an intern. And so basically, as Lauren had touched base on, there are different areas. We have the strategy, we have the consulting development department, the consulting, we have industry X, technology, and song. So for example, I'm computer science. So originally I did start out with CDP. That was because of when I first applied, originally it was full time, but then I got moved to an internship because of grad school. But then the next year I got to do a part of the technology development program. And basically at the core, the purpose of the development programs is to build your core skills and really, and it's kind of done through community engagement. You know, you get to meet all the people who are in the same areas as you, who did the same things as you. So this wasn't as big when I was in CDP because I kind of felt like a fish out of water, to be honest with you. But when I went to the TDP, you know, those were all the computer science majors, and you know, I was able to kind of vibe with them a little bit about that. Through mentorship, you know, you're put under the wing of a project manager, and they'll help you guide you through the project. You know, my team, my first project helped me up. So that's another good thing about Accenture too. While I'm at is like you have the opportunity to upskill and get certifications or learn a whole bunch of new things that will really help you in your career. And so they got me on some trainings with that. I've gotten to learn new programming languages, learn new technologies through them. So and you also, of course, as project experience, once you're put on a project, you get to really see what it's like and see the whole process and see how client relationships work, or how how Accenture's relationship works with the client. And yeah, so it's just it kind of like it really, instead of just putting you somewhere saying, here, go do this, you're kind of eased into it a little more. And so you really get to improve not only your skills within yourself, but also within Accenture. You can kind of understand how everything works.
Yeah, and just adding a little bit to that, even as an intern, you're placed in these programs. So then it carries on, like what Mac was saying, into your full-time role. So he was originally placed in CDP and then moved to TDP. So there's always room to kind of bounce around. And as an intern, you're still treated the same as a full-time employee, essentially. Give it to Lauren to get us started.
Yes. So I know that you're either here because maybe you've applied for an internship or you're interested in it. So these will be the next steps on how you can apply for our Summer Analyst program. So on the screen here, we have all of the different market units as well as the offices listed below. And then when you apply, you can select your top 3, and that would be ranked in order of preference. So I think for me, I put Chicago first, then Cincinnati, and then my guess is that I put Charlotte last. But so definitely make sure that you're thinking about your top 3 of where you would want to possibly be located, and they can span throughout the different market units. They don't just all have to be in one, like the Midwest or the West. So then after you choose your market unit and your offices, Valerie, if you want to hop to the next slide, then these are a lot of our main experiences and skills that we're looking for. Obviously, there are other things that go into it. It's not like you have to check all of these boxes and make sure that you're being yourself and not trying to mold yourself into someone that you aren't, just to try and fit these outlined things right here. So for experience, work experience, past internships, leadership, Accenture and consulting, like that, you know, your background there, and then extracurricular involvement. So that's kind of the experience things. I know that you might not have a previous internship, which is okay. And then for the skills, obviously, I think one of the biggest ones is being a learner and being able to be open to opportunities that you might not be the most comfortable with. As long as you're able to put it out there that you will learn this skill, a lot of times people will bring you on because they want a go-getter. Innovation is a big thing. Having a positive attitude, teamwork, of course, being flexible and adaptable, which I think is also big because a lot of times you're put in different situations that might not be the most like day-to-day 9 to 5, but just being able to adapt to different schedules and what the client needs. And then depending on if you're falling into the consulting or tech or industry X, the different software and internet skills that you would have there. And then here are just a few perks and benefits that we have at Accenture, whether it's for mental health, emotional health, physical, financial. We have a lot of great opportunities, and I have not been disappointed, to say the least. So we have all the major U.S. holidays plus 2 flex holidays, flex culture days, they call them. So you can use those as any additional 2 holidays that you choose, since, like Mac said, there are a lot of different cultures, groups here at Accenture. We want to be able to make sure that people can pick when those 2 culture days. So you don't have to take them around like Christmas time or Thanksgiving. They can be used anytime throughout the year. You can think of them as extra 2 PTO days. And then in addition to US holidays, you do have PTO days as an employee, and it gets accrued per paycheck. It depends on the level you're at, how much you accrue throughout the year, but I've never had a problem with having enough PTO days. We also have a lot of mental health and wellness resources. We have a whole site that's dedicated to it. There's been a bunch of new softwares that have come out that are like live chat agents for people to talk to if they're feeling down or if they're going through something. And then we have some health and wellness apps too, that there's like meditation before you sleep, or like trying to get all your steps in throughout the day. You can have competitions with teammates like that, which I think is really cool and definitely an added perk. Also have pet insurance. I wish I had a dog. I do not, but once I finally get my own dog, I will get them pet insurance. Gym discounts. There are like a bunch of different ones. It's not just one place, but whether it's like 50% off of the monthly fee or waiving the bonus or the extra payment that you have to use to sign up. We have stuff with gyms too. In Accenture in Chicago, there is also a gym in there that's free. And then we have retirement matching. So for your 401k, anything that you invest in there, the company does match up to a certain percent. I believe it's 6%. We have tech discounts too. We have a whole website, which is the Accenture store, and where you can get points and buy things. But we also have a whole site dedicated to different discounts, and they're not just tech discounts. It's across the board, whether it's like from a restaurant or hotels or a rental car, you can get perks there. And then we have a flexible schedules, of course. So like I said, we put our people first, and we take a very human first approach. We want to make sure that you're having a good work-life balance, and you're doing things, whether it's picking up a kid, or you have to take your dog for a walk, or you have an appointment and you'll have to go to the doctors and come back. Very flexible, as long as you make it known, and don't abuse that privilege. I would say it's a caveat. And then we also have fertility programs, as well as surrogacy and adoption assistance, which I know is a big thing there. And then this is the application process. And I don't want to spend too much time here because Emmanuel did a great job of explaining that and his experience there. But you would apply through this link here, and this deck will be shared afterwards. So that'll be available for you. And then you'll take that digital assessment online and have a screen interview. So over Zoom, over Teams, whatever it is. And then the final round interviews will most likely, they might be in person, they might not. Mine was in person, but I know that some have been virtual as well. And then last but not least, here are just some more opportunities you have as a student to get involved with Accenture beforehand, like before you're graduating, before internships. So we have the Innovation Challenge, which is cool, and people still do that within Accenture in the different development programs. We also have a student leadership program. So different tracks offering mentorship and exposure to our culture. We have free virtual consulting learning courses. I've actually done a few of those, and I think that they're really helpful. Even at my level, I think that they can help. You never stop learning and growing. And then experiencing Accenture. So there's a link there to hear more about our client stories in our analyst development program. So I'd highly recommend looking there. I mean, don't just take it from us. You can see some real life stories there. And then we have the Diversity Tech Summit. And there's a link there. So make sure to check that out. But that's all the content we have for today. We do have 12 minutes left, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for attending and getting to know a little bit more about Accenture. And of course, we would love to have more UK alumni in the company. We are a small group, but we are mighty, and we continue to grow year after year. But yeah, if you all have any questions, feel free to come off mute or ping in the chat. We're happy to answer.
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. First of all, thank you all for doing this. It's been very insightful. I had so I actually applied last week for the TDP program. Can you apply for also the CDP program if you wanted to, like have 2 applications for each program?
Yeah, yes, I believe you should be able to. There even might be an option to apply generally to,
Okay.
it might just say analyst development program. But even, if you get an interview back, they may be able to switch you into a different program if that is more interesting to you. But yeah, my recommendation is if you are applying, obviously go for the one that you want to do. If you're not sure, I would look for the one that might be more generalized, and then Accenture can work with you on placing you. But I believe you should be able to submit an additional application.
Cool.
And to piggyback off of that, I actually applied for just strategy and consulting for my internship or for my actual job, and then I was placed in the TDP program. So I think there is definitely opportunities to switch.
Okay, sweet. Thank you.
But congratulations on applying. That's awesome. Very exciting.
Thanks. Yeah. Do you know how long you generally like kind of what the window is of when you would hear back?
It just comes on a rolling basis. So our applications have been live for a couple months now. So it's really, as they come in, they get reviewed. So depending on how many are still left in kind of the queue, I guess you could call it, to be reviewed, yours would come in, next in line. So I'm not exactly sure on the time or the influx of applications, but once that application link closes, then it will just be, all the resumes and applications that came in will be reviewed. And then they won't take any past that.
Yeah,
but go ahead,
makes sense.
Lauren.
Thank you.
I was going to say, just with the holidays coming up and the deadline approaching, I would say it might take a little longer of turnaround time to hear back.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was curious, since all of you seem to have done the program, do you have any projects that you can share that you thought were pretty cool that you have worked on in the program?
So as an intern, are you talking about?
As an intern, sorry. Yeah.
As an intern?
Yeah.
So my first internship with Accenture, I actually was placed, so I'm from the Chicagoland area, and I actually was placed in Minneapolis for my internship. So I moved there for the summer, and it was pre-COVID, so we were able to work from our client site. So I worked for a big products company, and it was at their headquarters. And we were doing it's supply chain work. But we were at the very early stages of the project. So it was more of like the requirements gathering, working with the business to understand their current state, and then seeing which technology would best suit their current state and their future needs. So it was gathering, what's their current functionality, what can we bring them to, and then what's going to support them along the way. So it was there was a lot of interaction with the client team, and we had a smaller Accenture team as well. So it was big like design thinking sessions and whiteboarding and a lot of collaboration with some of the top people from the client side. So doing that as I think I was like 19 at the time was very, very awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, I'm sure. That sounds cool. Thank you.
Yeah. If anyone else has a story they'd like to share, feel free.
I'll go kind of talk about mine a little bit. So, okay, yeah. So I'll talk more about my second internship. Because the first one was the second one was more interesting. I'll just say that. Basically, with this project, this was for I think it was an oil and gas company. To be honest, like, yeah, I think they dealt with like petroleum products. It's not one I had ever heard before, to be honest with you. But basically, they were kind of upgrading their systems, and basically the project was centered around them kind of governing this ticketing system, because this was so new, the client really wasn't familiar with any of it. So Accenture kind of came in and helped them kind of ease them through the process, kind of help them move over. But I think I kind of actually want to talk about the project I'm on now, because I think this is I think it is very interesting, because it kind of shows you how much you can do in Accenture. Because, like I said, I went to school, I was a computer science major, did a lot of coding, but, one of the things I said to myself is, can I imagine myself coding on the same thing for 40 years? And why I like Accenture is the fact that, there's so many things you can do. There's like so many projects you can get on. Like right now, cloud is a really big thing, or cloud migration. Now, this project isn't technically a cloud because they're moving from one data center to another, but basically, what I'm kind of doing now is I'm sorry, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but when you're moving applications from one center to another, you have to move them in bundles, because you want to move applications that are dependent on each other with each other, and not to separate them. And you do this all in waves. And so that's a lot of, making sure people are checking in, make sure they're doing all their tasks that they're supposed to do, checking in with people it's just like a lot of back and forth about just keeping everything in line, making sure that wave goes smoothly, because that wave is like a 48-hour period. And so that's basically what I'm helping out with. And so it kind of gives me a whole different viewpoint on what I thought my major would be doing.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Yeah, I can tell you about myself. Again, I was on a financial compliance company that's based in Chicago, and my team specifically, we were working on their training. So they were basically revamping their training for every single department in their company. And we were using so many different tools like Salesforce, some other things that I wasn't particularly geared towards, but it was very interesting to me because Accenture wasn't doing just one thing for them. They were basically overhauling all the internals and everything in every sector. So they were doing their training, they were doing new operations, they were doing restructuring, they were doing so many things for one client at the same time. So I particularly worked in training, but I thought that was something that was very, very interesting. So to see how all the MDs are managing directors, would come together and they would, all talk about different things. And then you're pulling in other companies as well to come in and talk about different things that might, other companies that might be a little more acclimated to certain things or certain softwares. Was really, really interesting to see.
Great. Any other questions?
Yes, I have one. Hello, everyone. So I'm a sophomore in college, and my question is that is it easy for sophomores to get internships, or is it like mostly for juniors or seniors?
Good question. So this is the first year we're kind of changing things up for the internship program. So we're currently only accepting current juniors into the internship program. But on this slide, these other student opportunities, so especially the Innovation Challenge or the Student Leadership Program, are available for sophomores such as yourself, which can help you get your foot in the door and, would help you for the next year for applying for that internship. So getting that real experience can actually help you decide if this is, the right path for you, but also have you interact still with Accenture. So we would definitely suggest looking into these as an underclassman.
Okay, thank you.
I also want to add to the student leadership program. Though I didn't personally do it, I was able to attend it this past summer, and it is a very wonderful program. It's super, super fun. Usually you get to like fly out somewhere, and then I was in Chicago, so there are people coming from Minneapolis, DC, all over. And in the program, you do learn a lot of things about the culture of Accenture. And I know for the people who were not necessarily CDP or TDP or ASADP interns themselves that were a part of the student leadership program, which were primarily the sophomores, they got to really experience what it would be like being at Accenture for that program. So I'm pretty sure the application for it opens in like the fall or the spring, I think, but definitely apply to that if you have a chance.
Thanks, Emmanuel.
His question earlier kind of made me think of this. I'm in grad school right now. I'm doing the ICT program. It's a 2-year program, and I'm in the first year of it. So I have next summer to, fulfill. Am I like able to apply to this? To the internship program?
The internship program? Yeah,
Yeah.
so that would be similar to what Mac did. So Mac did his internship going into grad school. And then was able to get a full-time offer afterwards. So you, I believe, should be eligible. I can validate that, but similar to Mac, it was during grad school. So when you're still in school, to do that internship program is best. And with, the great turnout from internships that we've had over this past summer, we were able to give out a lot of full-time offers to those juniors going into their senior year, which has caused our full-time demand to be essentially filled, which is why we're really pushing for students to apply for the internship program this year, to eventually lead them to getting a full-time offer upon completion of the summer. So full-time roles are sparse, if at all available, which is why the internship program is really what we're pushing across the entire country this year. Any last minute questions? I know we're a minute over. I don't want to take up your time, but if there's anything else we can answer while we're still on the phone.
Valerie, I'll just add that deadline for the student leadership program is December 1 to apply. And then it looks like for the Innovation Challenge is December 15. So those are coming up. And then the Summer Analyst development programs is November 30, I believe.
Thank you for dropping that in the chat, Ray. Yes. Yeah, sometimes our deadlines are moving around depending on how many applications we receive. So if we do get a big push, sometimes all those spots get filled. So the biggest advice we could give is to apply early, and then keep checking back in. But thanks for that plug, Ray. So I would encourage you all to apply to what suits you best. And if not, try out some of these free links that we have, or do some digging on the Accenture portal, because there's definitely a lot of content on there that would be way too much for us to squeeze into 1 hour. But if there's nothing else, we really appreciate your time. We love speaking to UK. And we hope to see some of your applications come in and work with you in the future.
Yeah. Well, Valerie, Lauren, Emmanuel, Mac, guys, we sure appreciate you all taking time today and talking about all the great opportunities with Accenture for current students. So, guys, we'll have this recording available through the Career Center. If anybody wants to watch it either again, or if you have friends that intended to attend but weren't able to. And hope everybody's thinking about the great opportunities with Accenture, and we hope you all have a great evening. So thanks
Yes.
all.
You too.
And in the deck that Valerie's going to share, our contact emails are there, as well as our LinkedIn pages. So feel free to reach out to any one of us if you all have questions or any follow-ups. We're happy to help.
Great. Well, thank you all again.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good
Thank
one.
you.
Bye.